Hi. I don't know if any of you have seen the Milky Way Keys drama that occurred, but man, it's been a wild ride. Milky Way Keys used to be a manufacturer that I would recommend because I had some good experiences with my keycaps, PBT Ichigo, when they first burst onto the scene. They promised quality keycaps with a short turnaround time, but unfortunately as they continued to take on more and more projects, I think they might have overwhelmed themselves and it led to issues with quality and projects dragging on. People started receiving scuffed keycaps that were scratched and had color issues which just did not meet any QC standards. What made it worse was the fact that their representative, John, who was also the vendor for Canada, Kohaku Keys, suddenly disappeared and stopped providing any updates whatsoever. It led to a lot of frustration from consumers and ruined Milky Way Keys' reputation. Now, fortunately for this story, it does appear that Milky Way Keys didn't completely abandon their consumers and have been producing replacement sets for customers who received keycaps that did not meet standards. They've also brought on another representative to replace John, and so far, they've been quite responsive in providing updates for Milky Way Keys. It's yet to be seen if everything will end well, because there's still issues with some sets such as MW Demon Girl, and there are many sets that have yet to be delivered. I am rooting for Milky Way's success here, but not really because I like the company, but because I hope that the customers get the product that they paid for. I don't know if their reputation will be able to go back to how it was before this mess. It seems to me that they got a little too greedy or overconfident, and took on too many different projects at a time which led to this predicament. Hopefully, they've learned their lesson and maybe after they've delivered their projects, they can meet their original promise of high quality keycaps with lower wait times. P.S. John actually popped up after months of being AFK and had the audacity to say that he quote unquote never left, only to then proceed to then ghost everyone again after showing up for like 2 days. Anyways, without further ado, This is the second Pokemon themed set from Tomocaps. The first set was for Fairy type, so it featured a pink and light pastel blue theme, while this set is for Dragon type, so it features a gradient with different shades of blue. I was kind of tempted to join the group buy for Tomocaps Fairy type, but eventually decided against it because I didn't really need a pink keycap set. I don't really need a blue keycap set either, but I'm a sucker for blue, so I think I might end up buying this set. It is a good opportunity for me to try a different manufacturer to see if they're up to par and whether they're able to produce good quality keycaps. The design is quite simplistic, but it does look very clean with a couple novelties included that provide some customizability. I do kind of wish that they had designed more novelties and included them with the set because I think that it would look really nice. But then again, I don't tend to use that many novelties in my builds other than the escape and enter key, so it's probably better this way since it allows the price to be cheaper. Pricing for the set is pretty good at $85. There aren't any child kits, so it's a fully inclusive set with some novelties as well as different keys for some layout compatibility. I have not done an in-depth check as to whether it covers all layouts, so if you are a user of one of the more unique or obscure keyboard layouts, do check out the picture of the set yourself before buying. Overall, I think that the Tomocaps Dragon type is a good looking set. I don't have any personal experience with Tomocaps Keycaps, so I can't give an opinion on the quality of the sets. However, I have seen some videos of previous keycap sets that they designed out in the wild, so if you're curious, you can always try looking at YouTube or Instagram. If you've been looking for a nice blue set, Tomocaps Dragon type might be a set that you want to check out. ePBT Warrior MK2 is back again for a second round. The core design and theme are pretty much the same, though this time around they did make some changes to the novelty keys, as well as changes to the kitting. For this group buy, there's a non-standard kit that will be offered, which sounds like an improvement because on the surface level, it appears that they are offering more kits for more compatibility. However, if you take a look at the base kit for R1, you'll realize that many of the keys in the non-standard kit were actually offered as part of the R1 base kit. So basically, they've just split up the R1 base kit into two, and if you need any of the keys in the non-standard kit, such as the 7U spacebar and modifier keys for a Win keyless build, you'll need to pay $35 along with the $89 base kit, which happens to be a $10 price bump from the R1 base kit that I had just purchased. Wow, what a deal! They did add two more kits that weren't available at all during the original group buy, with a black kit and a red kit, just in case you dislike the gray numero keys or prefer all your modifier keys to be the bright red. So that's a thing. though I feel like they probably could have included some of these keys in the base kit or novelties kit, especially since they've bumped up the price for both. Regarding the design changes to some of the keys, I feel like it's personal preference. Some of the novelty keys do look nicer, but there are things that I definitely prefer from R1 over R2. Overall, it's still a really cool set, though I have mixed feelings about it. It's not as good of a deal compared to R1 due to the price bumps as well as the kitting being kind of scummy by removing keys from the original base kit, limiting compatibility unless you fork over more money. I really don't understand how the base kit then ends up being $10 more compared to R1, especially since you remove so many keys. Quality wise, my R1 set was really nice with good alignment on legends as well as clear printing on novelties. They come in plastic trays that keep the keycaps secure, and though they aren't the best trays that I've seen, they are still miles above the paper trays that GMK uses. I still really do like the design, and I think it's a pretty cool choice for people who like mechas. If you're someone who plans on building a WinKey keyboard and you don't mind the price bumps, maybe you can take a look at ePBT Warrior MK2. So, I included these keycaps in the My Thoughts section because I wanted to just let people know that these are the same folks who designed the Sakuya keycaps, aka the Osumi copycats. While it wasn't technically a clone since Osumi never created a set with that theme or color scheme, they did copy Osumi's design language and font without reaching out for permission, which in my opinion is in pretty poor taste since that design was something that Osumi had worked on themselves that made their product stand out. I didn't include the Sakuya keycaps last time in my group buy video because I felt pretty scummy, but I did include these keycaps. I am well aware that the font that they use is the same font as the ones used on old Apple keyboards, though then again, BIP's extended 2048 keycaps have also used that font as well, so it does feel like it's more of a gray area. Anyways, so why bring this up? My goal for these videos have always been to inform people on what is going on sale. It's never been about product promotion, and I don't get paid by vendors or designers to talk about different keycaps or keyboards. If we take the standpoint that these videos are meant for informing, then unless a group buy is a blatant copy or has some massive red flags, I feel like I'm supposed to be including them in these videos. However, if people don't want to see products made by designers or vendors who have done something like what Switch Labs has done in the past, I can take them out of the videos. I'll probably create a poll later in the community tab just to see what people think, but feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyways, back to these keycaps. I'm not a fan of the old Apple font, but I do think that these sets look good if that's your style. Personally, I do believe in second chances, so I'm hoping that they've learned their lesson and they never pull another stunt by copying Osumi or another designer again. I haven't seen any content on the Sakuya set other than some short videos that were obviously sponsored by Switch Labs, so I'm not sure about the quality of their keycaps. They didn't look to be too bad in those videos, but like I said before, vendors and designers will of course cherry pick and do extra QC to make sure that the products they send to influencers are perfect so they get the best publicity possible. What they get as a content creator is probably not what you get as a consumer, and it's something that we've seen time and time again, such as when some creators make videos saying how X keyboard is perfect out of the box, only for consumers to get a keyboard with issues. Because we can't really verify the quality of Switch Labs keycaps, it is somewhat of a risk, but if you're just a sucker for that old Mac font and you feel like the risk is acceptable, then I guess you can give it a shot. The Zoom 65 V2 came out just back in January, but Bellatrix is back yet again with the Zoom 75. This is a new product being offered and not a rerun of a past board, though it does share many design elements as the Zoom 65 V2 with the wedge shape as well as the backplate plus weight design that was first featured on the Zoom TKL. It does however have some new tricks up its sleeve with a top right corner. You can configure your Zoom 75 with different modules which allow you to change the top corner to be either simply two keys, a key and a knob, or something fancier like a badge or even a small LCD screen. It's not the first time where a badge or screen has been added to a keyboard, but it definitely is a first for a keyboard to have all these different options at such a low price point. The Zoom 75 starts at $179 for the Central Edition wired, and goes up to $259 for the GMK Kitsune collaboration. I think that the collaboration looks really cool, and I appreciate all the design elements that they added to really show off the theme. The one part that I don't like about the design, which is a complaint that I've seen brought up by others as well, is the weight. I saw the designers comment about why they chose a woman's face because based on Japanese folklore, kitsune often do transform into women. However, I just really don't like the art style and it doesn't look good in my opinion, especially the hair. It is on the bottom of the board, so you won't be seeing it for the most part, but man, it would have been nice if we could change that to something else. Unfortunately, the GMK Kitsune collaboration board will be limited to 500 units globally, so do keep an eye out for more information regarding unit allocation when the date gets closer, and have your clock set if you don't want to miss out. If you've been looking for a cheaper 75% keyboard for the custom keyboard hobby, or if you want something a little more unique, then the Zoom 75 might be the board for you. The Kohaku originally ran back in 2021, and now after 2 years, it's back. From a top-down view and the side view, the Kohaku may not seem all that special, but once you turn it upside down, you'll be able to see that unique weight featuring the namesake of this board. It's a really striking design, and I love how it incorporates the case color to form the pattern on the fish, which is why I feel like it's a bit of a shame that for this round, they won't be bringing back the red case. Instead, there will be 4 color options: lilac, green, gray, and black. I'm the type of person who's really big on themes, so I personally like to make sure that my keyboard and keycaps match, especially if the keyboard has an inspiration. I think that it would have been cool to see the color options that Koi Fish actually come in, but the colors that are being offered still look quite nice. One thing of note is that if you're an owner of the original Kohaku, do keep in mind that the R2 parts will not be compatible because there have been changes to the keyboard design. I did watch the video from Maker Chun, and it doesn't appear to have drastically changed the sound profile of the board, as it is still a higher pitched keyboard. As a result, I'm not the biggest fan of the sound, but that's a matter of preference. There will be 700 units available globally through different regional vendors, which is actually quite a large number, so hopefully those who want one will be able to get one. I don't believe they've announced the unit allocation, and I'm not sure if they plan on doing so, though I would assume that KLC Playground will probably receive the largest number of units since they are serving multiple regions. The sales format will be a raffle, though the format of the raffle is to be determined by a regional vendor, so make sure you check the product page and announcements of your vendor for your region, as sales will be region locked. I probably wouldn't recommend trying some shenanigans to join other regions' raffles, because I've heard of cases where orders get cancelled or people get put on a blacklist. I've never tried anything like that myself, though sometimes it feels like I've already been put on a blacklist with how bad my luck is with raffles. The Kohaku R2 is cheaper than the R1, though it's still an expensive keyboard. The price currently listed on the KLC product page is $510 for just the case, and you will have to pick up a PCB for either $40 for solder or $55 for hot swap. This puts the Kohaku at the top of the keyboard pricing tier, so you better be sure you really want this keyboard before you sell your kidney to buy one. As a result, I would not recommend most people to join this raffle since there are cheaper alternatives, though maybe not as pretty or unique. But if this is really your endgame, or you have been looking for a premium keyboard and you are in a financially stable situation, yeah, I'd give it a shot. Speaking of another legendary board that has made a return, Canon Keys has brought back the Chimera65 for another round. It's a keyboard that was originally created all the way back in 2018, so it's been even longer since the last sale, which makes this pretty special, particularly for those who have been waiting all this time. The reason why the keyboard is called the Chimera65 is because when Upas was designing this keyboard, they were inspired by various other keyboards such as the TGR Jane and the Keycult No. 165, and as a result, a chimera of a keyboard was born. There have been some tweaks to the design to refine it, but otherwise, the Chimera65 retains its iconic look, though this time with more color options. There will also be a PC version with 3 different case colors, which are for folks who want a chimera that is lighter and more portable just in case you're the type to bring an expensive keyboard on the go. There has been extensive testing done on this keyboard to try to optimize the sound and typing feel that UPAS was looking for, and based on those results, UPAS believes that foam isn't necessary. However, if you are a foam fan and want to add it to your keyboard, it will be available for you to achieve that muted sound. Another trend that has gotten more popular since this keyboard first went on sale are hot swap PCBs, and like the foam, these will also be available if you don't like soldering or want more flexibility to change configurations. Pricing for the Chimera65 R2 is not cheap, at $450 for the standard edition, $470 for EY or PC, and $630 for the special edition. But to be fair, these prices are cheaper than the R1 prices. It's not a huge difference for the standard edition and the E-White version, though I guess if you're going for the special edition, it is cheaper by $95, which is pretty big. The keyboard does come with some goodies like a new Chimera aluminum keycap and a Canon Keys carrying case with a microfiber cloth. Although I don't think that it's a good idea to make a decision on buying a keyboard simply because of freebies, it does make the deal a bit sweeter. While the Chimera65 is cheaper than the Kohaku, it is still quite expensive for most people, so do check out the various videos out there to be sure that this is the keyboard for you. More sales details such as the amount of units and sales method will be announced as we get closer to the sale. If you are interested, I would sign up for the Canon Keys newsletter or join the Discord for all the latest information. I'm kind of on the fence for this one for myself personally, because while I do really like the Chimera65, I know that I already have a decent amount of 65% keyboards. Maybe if this had come back earlier when I was still relatively new to the hobby, I would have snapped at the opportunity to buy one. But at this point, I'm not so sure. However, if you have been searching for a cool premium 65% keyboard, or maybe you've been patiently waiting all this time for a Chimera65, this is your chance to finally buy one.